Barber College Success. Once again, we have a great panel for us. We got some heavy hitters in the studio. Spreading love the JC way. It's the only way we know how to do it is the Crown Cuts way. Brought to you by Craig Charles of Crown Cuts Academy JC and Crown Cuts Academy Bristol. Also, Craig's Crown Cuts Downtown JC. Hit those boys up. Today, we got a special episode. We're going to make you feel really good after this episode. You might get up and try to, like my guest said, put your foot on your back. I don't know how that's going to happen, but
hey, I haven't done it yet. So
I think she was warning against that.
But we're going to talk about yoga. How can yoga help with barbers, cosmetologists, esthetician, nail techs? How can it help with your craft, longevity in the game, in the industry? And I didn't think about it. And one day I was in the barbershop and this lady said she did yoga. And I was like, you know what? Let's do a podcast. She's like, and she reached out to me and said, hey, are we going to do it? I almost forgot.
you forgot about me.
I know she probably thought I forgot. But here we are right now. We're going to talk about yoga. And I'll let everybody introduce themselves. And then my co-host, and he'll do his thing. Go ahead, guys.
All right. Well, hi, I'm Stephanie Sherwood. My day job is as a lawyer here in downtown Johnson City. I have an office down here. I practice criminal defense, family law, personal injury. And I discovered yoga about 10 years ago. And I guess it's been 3 years. Lauren and I actually did our teacher training together here in Johnson City at Downtown Yoga, Kim Blaine's awesome studio.
Yes.
And since then, I have been teaching yoga for lawyers workshops for my colleague. We've actually been approved by the Bar Association to get CLE credit, continuing ed credit.
Okay.
That's awesome.
So you're gonna be doing yoga for barbers too here pretty soon.
I'm in. I'm Craig. Anything for you. I'm in. But yeah, so it's just been an awesome experience to be able to share that with people I work with.
That's
so,
awesome.
Thank you for having me today.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
My name is Lauren Love. I've been teaching yoga for a long time, and I got my certification about 3 years ago. So I was teaching, 23, maybe 22. I started teaching, and I started doing yoga when I was about 12, and I had to do it I had to do it for my ballet program.
Okay.
And I hated it. It wasn't about showing off. It wasn't about making it perfect. There was no costumes. It was just you and reality and your mat. And that was really hard for me for, being a dancer and so judgmental about what's going on. So I left it for a long time. And then I found it back in college, and it really changed. It changed everything about how I approached life, really. It's a good thing to kind of go back to. Always reset to your yoga base.
Yes, sir. Boom. My guy to my left.
Am I Fields? Am I your barber from downtown?
You know what I feel like?
Wow.
You ever seen that show? This what's the name? What's the dude on HBO Showtime? Jesus and like two co-hosts. They're like Showtime.
Only one I remember was
Jesus and something.
I don't even know.
So we got to come up with like a team name. But go ahead and introduce yourself.
Name?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Introduce yourself.
No, you good? Am I your barber?
Jesus and Mero.
Mero.
Yeah,
I guess I got to be a Mero, right? You Jesus.
I don't know. I mean, you
probably speak more Spanish than I do.
Okay, what I asked.
Okay, un poquito. Anyways, it's blessed to be here, man. Traffic's always crazy coming here, but it's just such a blessing making it to this building, hang out with everybody.
So today we have a special topic. We're gonna talk about. Well, first of all, let me give a shout out to FeedSpot, the #1. They ranked us top 25 in the world, top barber content in the country. Again, shout out, salute those guys. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep making episodes and keep making them proud. FeedSpot, salute to you. Thank you. But we're going to talk about today, how does this relate to yoga, to barbering, cosmetology, nail technician, esthetician, anybody in the field? How does this yoga thing help you? What you think about it? When I first told you about the podcast being yoga, what came to your mind?
First thing was like different yoga poses that I knew off the top of my head. So like Craig said, what, tree? Is that one of them?
That's a good one.
And then I said downward dog.
Yeah.
So we're on it. Yeah, we got it.
That's what we know.
But we was on the right. So I was thinking like, for me, I think about the athletic side because I know a lot of athletes do yoga.
Right.
And I think it's a really cool thing. I just don't know like how to pursue like what's a good place to start at? Because I know stretch is important.
Right.
Yeah. So because there's a guy that comes, and I'll tell you this: there's a guy that comes to our barbershop. Dude's 90. He gets around better than I do. I limp coming up the stairs because my knee hurt. This dude probably run up the steps, but he told me that he stretched like 45 minutes every day for as long as he can remember, just stretching.
So that might have some type of advantage for barbers.
Oh, it has advantage for everyone, but we can definitely speak to, I mean, barbers, you're on your feet all day.
Right.
There's a real physical toll of that work. And there's also a mental, emotional attentiveness toll.
Preach.
Preach. We got so
Say
much.
it louder.
We got a lot going
I know.
on.
Hold all that good stuff. Hold all that good stuff. I want to build up. I want to build it up.
Yeah.
So when we had that conversation initially, Lauren, and I mentioned about come to the podcast, what was going through your mind? What do you think about?
I just thought, yay, I get to reach more people with what I know. And there's no person on this planet I could possibly imagine that couldn't benefit from yoga.
Right.
And so it's just finding what level, not in terms of high or low level, but what type of yoga is going to benefit you.
Right. Because initially I didn't really get back to you right away. And I mentioned that I totally forgot. But I'm happy you reached out and was like, Craig, what's up?
Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
I think a lot of people need it. And if you're in an industry where you're using your body and you're not an athlete,
Mhm.
then you are not getting the benefit that those other athletes are doing. I mean, some athletes do some sort of
Right.
stretching, even if it's not intense or yoga, they're doing something. And they're also moving their body in a very trained, specific way.
Right.
But with barbers, any kind of stuff you're using your hands with,
She already
you
can
know,
fade. You see
Yep,
the
I see
flick?
that.
Yeah,
I see
yeah,
that.
the flick.
So Steph, when I know it was short notice, I'm happy I saw you like 3 days ago, Saturday, 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, Steph, what's up? So when the conversation came up, what were you thinking about? What went through your mind?
Well, I immediately jumped to how I like to introduce my colleagues to yoga to deal with a lot of stress and anxiety,
Right.
and frankly trauma issues.
Right.
And now we're seeing so much science. And I'm not even talking like hippie stuff. I'm talking real.
It gets deep.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the hippie
Yeah.
stuff. But I mean, we're talking Western medicine,
Mm-hmm.
mainstream medicine is recognizing the benefits of yoga on our brains, on our, I just learned the new words, mirror neurons. If you look that up, it's really fascinating.
Right.
How we can actually repair the damage in our cells with yoga.
Oh, wow.
And people who have dealt with trauma, which after the past year, I think a lot of us are in that category.
Yes.
And practicing yoga and meditation literally rewires our brains to recover from trauma.
It's important what you said because most people, again, associated yoga for the longest time with hippiness and granola and Lauren, why are you laughing?
And also it's a feminine thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting that it's considered feminine
Yeah.
because where did it start from? All men.
Mhm.
And it was for the people who were, basically doing all this religious study and all this practice meditating, and then their bodies would get all crinkled up from sitting that long, so they had to do something to reverse all that. And
So-
also, sorry to interrupt you, but I have to tell you
No,
this
go
because
ahead.
it's so funny. It is also aimed at adolescent boys,
Hmm.
and they were called jumping asanas. So all the things that you see is very slow and moving. That's not where it started. It was
Right.
like, get these hyper boys outside.
Go stretch or something.
And now it's considered like, she lady thing. And it's interesting because women,
That's not even-
70s we weren't. It
Pretty
wasn't until the
much,
70s
yeah,
we weren't
yeah.
allowed to practice yoga.
And
Really? There was a yoga
Time
block
limit?
band? Like
Oh,
women
yeah.
couldn't do yoga?
So where did yoga originate from? Where did it come from? I mean,
Oh no,
You
we're going
guys
to go
know?
back into our training.
Our training.
I mean, yoga's been around for thousands of years.
probably
Came from
Egyptian, India, Egyptians.
Probably before that.
India. Yeah. It predates all religions. It was
Right.
before any of that happened. I mean, it's really, really old, and it was carried on like everything orally for a long time, and then they started writing it down. But it was very, this guy on the mountain has the information, and you have to get this other guy's permission. And so it was very, kind of, it was a small knit group. It wasn't really allowed.
Can you visibly like see stress on people? Like I know, like we see as barbers, we see a fade that's messed or a line in the fade. Like, oh, look at that. Like, can you see somebody doing a job and see the physical stress emitted and how like yoga could benefit that? Like,
I
is
can
it,
see a picture of somebody. I
Yeah.
can see someone standing
Mm.
there and go, all right,
They need to be
I know
stretched.
exactly what class you
Wow.
need.
That's dope.
Wow. And again, this is shout out to Market Street Media. If you have a question out there, let us know. Lathan is good about answering, sending the questions to us, and we'll put them on the board, and we'll get to you as quick as possible. Again, salute Market Street Media.
Yes,
21 gun
thank
salute.
you.
So tell me about the great like movement for women to do yoga. Like, what
Yeah,
happened there? When did they stop allowing that?
You know what? I'm not that good on my
Oh,
history
I'm
with
googling.
it.
I'm a Googler.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, go for it. You know,
There's the lady, the mother of modern yoga. There's a little lady
Right.
that started in middle of the 20th century.
Sorry, I believe y'all.
And I actually have, when I do my Yoga for Lawyers workshops, I go through this whole history, but of course all the names are escaping my
Right.
brain.
right.
But really, what we think of as yoga now, modern yoga, is less than 100 years old.
Wow.
Right. And a lot of what we think of is the asana practice, which is just the poses.
Mhm.
And so that's just part of yoga. There's meditation, there's
Breathing.
breathing, yeah,
Yes,
pranaya.
Hey, I watched a lot of martial
Look at
arts movies.
you.
You know what I'm
We
saying?
have to get prepared.
Yeah.
We have to do
I
some
watched
type
Bruce
of
Lee
research.
all night last night.
And Bruce Lee had amazing pranayama, and that he used that in his technique,
He
control
tried-
of
What,
breath.
now, say that word again.
Pranayama.
Pranayama.
I don't think
Word
I
of the
ever-
day.
Yeah.
Cite it.
Pranayama. It just means control of breath. So
Okay.
just being conscious of how you're breathing and choosing to inhale and
Wh-
exhale.
Why somebody couldn't just say control your breath? That'd be-
Man, chill.
We gotta bust the Sanskrit out.
Yeah,
you know?
that's I mean, like that's difficult to remember. But anyway, I like that. I mean, I like learning new words. Anyway, thank you. Thank you. But let's get into the meat of it. You know what we do as in our industry. We're barbers. We stand, and a lot of barbers break down. We had a podcast before on nutrition. We had a show on economics. So I think this segment, this podcast is important as well because we're going to reach so many people. We're over 45 countries right now. We're going to reach someone out there who's a barber, who love the industry so much and will need the longevity, different things to keep them going. Because you can have as long as 8 to 10 hour days just standing up. And like you said, that older guy who was 90 years old, he says he stretches 45 minutes a day.
Every day.
So how does that go hand in hand? You said it goes with anything. How does it go hand in hand? Let you guys decipher.
Well, I would definitely advise anyone listening in that industry to find their way to local yoga studios, sign up for a beginner class. And, I've worked with Lauren, I've taken her classes, and she's so amazing at meeting people where they are. And I think to me, that's a mark of a really good yoga teacher is, just like you said, you weren't flexible. Well, those
Yeah.
are our favorite yoga students that say, I'm not flexible. I can't do it. And, challenge accepted.
Yeah, exactly.
But how do you get men, in this industry is dominated by men. We have women are starting to take over the industry as well, so in the barber industry, but in the cosmetology field, how do you get people to break that stigma? Because most people think and look at, you have to be real petite, real thin, and I don't want to go in there and I'm out of shape. I don't look good. I don't feel good. You have to be under 150 pounds to go into yoga. I mean, that's some real things that people think about. How can people break that stigma as a barber, but they know they need help? How can they break that stigma?
I think one thing is looking at what is out there that's not the mainstream yoga. So if you
Beer
can
yoga.
look up,
Beer
beer yoga.
yoga.
There's beer yoga, as I said earlier.
That was
There's
just warning us
swearing.
against.
There's the swearing yoga. I'm not a fan of the beer yoga. But I see things online that are supposed to represent yoga that are just this tiny little part of it. And I saw this lady. She was probably about, I would say, 400 pounds.
Mhm.
She was on her forearms doing the full split, and I thought,
I couldn't even think about it. I just felt
so
that.
upside down. So she's like this, right?
Mhm.
And she's doing a shoulder stand with a split.
Oh, man.
Wow.
And she was not sweating it one bit. She had no problem. So it doesn't. That's the thing that I hear most is that people say that I'm too big for yoga, and I've seen big bodies do some incredible things,
Mm,
And then the other thing is, now it's female dominated, oddly enough.
right.
And maybe if men want to take a macho approach to it, to get into it, to challenge themselves.
Hmm.
Really, you can't do yoga? Why? What
Yeah.
would
Oh, I
that?
like that.
I mean,
Why?
but you might feel uncomfortable as a male. You want to get
Sure.
better, and you feel like all these women, because with the Me Too movement and women feeling a certain type of way, and you have tight garments on,
Sure.
and some men thinking about that might make them feel uncomfortable going in a setting like that. So how do they get past that setting? Is this something that you should talk to the instructor in advance, or you should, because if it benefits people like we're getting ready to talk about, that's something that everybody should get into.
That's a serious question too. I feel like.
Something interesting that's come out of the past year and all the changes we've had to make are our local studio that where we did our training down. There's a few wonderful ones locally, but Downtown Yoga in Johnson City has done a fantastic job of live streaming classes. And I've also been live streaming from some Asheville studios as well
Wow.
that I'm familiar with. And so it's actually, and I'm surprised I've enjoyed it because I get so much from an in-person class, both teaching and participating. It's just so powerful to be right there. But I'm surprised at how much I have enjoyed the live stream classes. You can interact with the teacher. You can turn your camera off if you want to. You can turn it on. I've never felt any pressure to keep it on. So it's kind of brings the stakes down a little bit.
Right. That's a good idea.
Very accessible.
I need that accountability though. Like whenever I'm doing something physical, I need somebody to be like, "What are you doing? Well, you can do better. You're being lazy."
Right.
That's just me personally.
And I agree. And the nice thing about these live streams, if it's truly live, I can't do a recorded one, but for the same reason,
Right.
I'll stop
You're
in the
like,
middle and go make myself a cocktail. But and I agree with Lauren. Trust me, cocktail yoga doesn't
It
mix.
doesn't work.
No, I've tried that. But yeah, you have that accountability of a live teacher, and they can see that you're on the class, and you can chat and interact. And if you want that camera on, and they can see, give you corrections and things like
Right.
that. But if you kind of want that happy medium where, hey, I paid for this class, they can see that I'm attending. So if that's enough accountability, then you can have the benefit of being a little bit anonymous and private.
Right. That's a good idea. What do you think, Lauren?
Yeah, I've been teaching on Zoom for the university, and I've noticed that it's very strange for me because I can't see anybody most of the time, or one person will be on the screen. But I kind of like the idea that some people are on the screen and some people have chosen not to, because I feel like, oh, good, they can just be invisible if they want,
Because
which you don't always have that option. And there are days you want to do yoga, but you don't want to be in a studio.
But
You don't want to be anywhere. You just want to be in your house.
I think there's so many more people who want to participate, and I didn't think of it that way, but with the pandemic, obviously, we've had to adjust and pivot to it. That's one great thing. Yeah, so so for barbers, cosmetologists, nail techs, look for somewhere that first you can maybe live stream. Like that's the first hurdle. So go ahead, Steph.
Well, I was just going to say there's an awesome app called Mind Body.
Mhm.
And you can put in your radius and you can find live classes, but you can also, they're really good about showing which ones are live streamed. So I would encourage anybody to sign on. It's a free app. Mind Body.
Check that out.
That's earning the
When I
crown
think
right
about
there.
yoga, like for me personally, like I always thought it was a cool thing because like when you see athletes who perform like in sports or something like that, and they say, "Oh, well, so and so is taking yoga, to better their circulation or whatever in their breathing." And I always thought that yoga was a cool thing. And then also I watched a lot of martial arts tapes, like we talked about Bruce Lee. Watching him stretch and try all these different things to be as healthy as he could was inspiring to me. So that I always had a respect for yoga. I was always a big guy though. That was my thing.
Likewise, I've always had a respect
Yeah.
for it. I've always been interested in it and wanting to do it, but just don't want to walk into a studio. I'll be the only guy there, and they'll just be like, "I'm like, man, I'll pass."
This is making me think, Lauren, we need to do a men-only class. We need to teach
That's a
in
good
Johnson
idea.
City a
Well-
class for men.
I'm so down for that. I would love to do that.
And
Because
you see-
I taught when I was teaching martial arts, there was definitely a male dominated, field. And,
I mean, just
I miss my dudes.
I mean, just like how women have insecurities coming in where there's a bunch of men
Mhm.
and you'd be the only woman in there. I mean, I think guys have the same thing where they'll come and
Sure.
just, man, I ran a knot today. But either side is welcoming, but just as the stigma of not wanting to be ostracized or just pushed aside or feel a certain way or talked about, you just will not go and don't benefit from something that's going to benefit you. And that's not fair.
And then when they find that love for it, to where it's like, you know what, I'll do yoga right now in the middle of this street with
Yes.
whoever, you know,
I
when,
do it
like how
constantly.
y'all feel, you know, at home with the camera off. Once they find that love for it, you got unisex class where they can do things at their own house privately or whatever. But I know it's for us it's different because we have this I don't want to say insecurities, but reservations about like, you know, doing them.
Because everybody who goes to yoga, it seems like they can do yoga already. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
and I
you go in there, you
that's
like,
definitely not true.
No, no.
But you know, I've gone to class and felt like I couldn't do yoga, and I've been doing this since I was 12 years
Same.
old.
Yeah.
And
You got them
there's-
stiff days.
Yeah, it's stiff days. And I will see someone who is never taking yoga, and I'll give them a correction, and they'll feel difference. And you know it. The look on their face when they're like, oh my gosh, I can do this and feel so much better. That's what I do it for. I
How-
do it for the looks. And,
right.
you know, when you see someone start to kind of fall in love with their body a little bit, like, oh, my body can do this stuff.
So you do
It's
yoga
a-
while we cut hair. That's the same reason. We
Yeah.
do the same. Like
Oh.
for us to show somebody a mirror and be like, I'm about to go get that job today.
Yeah.
Right.
Y'all the same reason
exactly.
that y'all do yoga. That's
It's
awesome.
3 degrees, 2 degrees of separation. It's so close. You didn't realize it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it was you, Emma, that said you were talking about applying it directly to, you know, doing it as a barber, as a cosmetologist. And there are so many things you could actually do in the salon, in the barber shop,
Right.
that maybe people wouldn't see you and know they're doing yoga. So you can sort of do it, you know, stealthily. I mean, just for example, we were talking about being on your feet, you know, forward fold. You go into a corner for a minute and you just, you know, forward hinging, you know, at your tailbone, and just let your torso be really heavy and just kind of let that stretch feel really good and release some of that tension.
And is
you're
it
holding.
that easy just to kind of that's just stuff like that?
I do it in court. I mean, I'll you know, have a corner in the courthouse and just sort of, you know, it's hard to do in high heels. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But you
Don't, you gotta wear some
I
flat
used to
top.
do it in the back of church because I'd be in pain because of my back, and
Yeah.
I'd just go in there and I'd do a little of this. And,
So-
you know,
I
then
got one A, man.
So what I'm hearing right now is that yoga doesn't have to be a whole hour session, because I think most people think that, and it pushes
No.
them away. You have to go in there about 45 minutes to an hour.
mm-mm.
So you
No.
can break it down in 15, 20, 30 minutes, or even like a couple moves every now and then.
You can do one stretch that takes a minute and then go back to what you're doing.
Wow.
And I would recommend, I don't know what you're comfortable doing in front of other clients, because I'm a yoga teacher. I do all kinds of wacky stuff in front of people. But, you know, I call it bathroom yoga. No one knows
Mm.
what you're doing in the bathroom. Go
Yeah.
in the bathroom for 5 minutes. You've got a wall, put your arm against it. I'll show you guys some things that I think there's 3 things that if you know, someone in this profession did every day, maybe as much as they could
Mhm.
throughout the workday, you'd be feeling better.
Is
by
there
the
one
end.
you could verbally describe like that didn't
Well,
take much?
I guess you have to. What's the 3
Well,
things?
yeah. So one of them is feet up the wall, which is I recommend for anybody who's on their feet. You just basically sit next to the wall, like with one hip on the wall,
Okay.
and then you lay down and you flip both your legs up so that your back of your legs are on the wall and your back is on the floor. So you're making a right angle. And if your knees are bent, that doesn't really matter.
Like L
That's-
shape.
Yeah, like an L shape, right. And so if you lay there for, you know, 2 minutes, however long you have to lay
Mhm.
there, just the blood coming down from your feet circulates all the fluid that's building up in there. And just that kind of simple thing will make
Wow.
a huge difference.
It makes me feel better just hearing you say
Yes.
it. I'm like, I want to do it right now.
Right.
And, yeah, and it's really nice that the other thing I like about yoga is some of it's instantaneous results. You will feel the tingling start in your feet, and it'll move up to your thighs and up to your waist, and you know, it's just kind of like, I can feel my body is getting better through this.
I need yoga, Craig.
Hey,
You
me
got it
too.
Yes.
I mean,
And- and-
I'm getting excited.
Good. You
Just
should.
sitting there,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
because
I'm going home and YouTube and everything. Where should I start? Where's a good place to start? Like to look for beginner. Like say if you didn't readily have a yoga class available, where's somewhere that you could start?
There is so much out there. I
That's
mean,
I don't have a
so
favorite, to be
much.
honest.
Mm-mm.
When I go on, I just kind of go, well, I want to do this for 10 minutes, and my hips really hurt. You put in 10-minute hip yoga, you'll have a whole, you can
Wow.
really
Plethora.
be that specific. Say
Wow.
what's happening with your body, and there's a video out there for it.
So
Mm.
just whatever area that you feel like is affected, maybe with stress or tension, and then put in yoga beside it, you'll probably have something pop
Oh
up.
yeah,
Tons.
shoulders, hips,
Mm.
back, neck, anything like that.
And
Mm.
guided breathing
Yes.
exercises as well. And, another one that I would suggest to piggyback off of your suggestion, Lauren, is, breathing exercises to relieve tension. And nobody can even see that you're doing it. I mean, you could do this while you're standing at the
Huh.
barber chair
Wow.
and basically, taking deep inhales and then make your exhale 3 beats longer than
Wow.
your inhale. I
See,
mean, it's very simple.
My Apple Watch tells me to breathe, and I try to make a point that when it does tell me to breathe, I actually try to take 5 deep breaths just while I'm standing there. I
Good.
like I
You're
actually
doing yoga.
yeah, but I honestly felt because I feel like it's happening for a reason. But I definitely feel like I try to when it tells me to breathe, because some people get mad at it, but I actually try to take advantage of it. But I do feel like it makes me feel better afterwards. So.
Wow. So there's little things like that that barbers need to think about and know, because it's right in front of you, and you might simultaneously do it and not even know that you're doing it. And if you can do it again repetitively, that can put you in a better mood, in a better space.
That's the key, isn't it? The discipline or the just sticking with it.
But you don't know what you don't know. And just these tips that you guys are giving, I mean, it's going to be helpful to someone. It's helpful to me right now. So that's things that I want to do.
Well, and Lauren, I'm curious your experience with this because you've practiced yoga a lot longer than me. But when I started practicing as an adult, I discovered so many asanas, poses, are really things that I did as a child when I was just playing and I wanted to stretch a certain way or do something that I would, like hero pose, where you're sitting kind of on your thighs and your feet are outstretched. And some adults said, don't do that. That's bad for your legs, or, plow. I used to do, where you're laying on your back and you're basically throwing your legs over your head. When I was a kid, I did that all the time in my room.
I know what you're talking about. I
You know what I
can
mean?
hear myself doing it.
It's because all kids do
Yeah.
yoga.
You
And,
listen to your body.
I mean, my son is 7, and so I've watched him grow up and watch how his body forms. That's really, I mean, I was a dancer, a martial artist, so I'm always looking at the mechanics. And he has not really ever had any problem with any yoga poses. And most kids can get into a lot of those things. And it's just, getting them to focus enough to do it. But there's no reason if you can do it as a child that you shouldn't be able to do it as an adult.
For sure.
And
At some point, we're told to, control yourself and sit primly in your chair at school and not
Yeah.
Don't
fidget.
move.
Don't move. And we
Don't
start to
listen
lose
to your
that.
body.
Exactly.
Stop listening to what your body is telling you. And
So
that's
two things I've heard. The laying on your back for barbers and put your feet on the wall, and the deep breath stuff. What are other things that you guys can recommend?
I would say for the upper body. So I think of like legs up the wall is great for that. For arms, everybody's hunched over.
Mhm.
And so anything that's
Greg, what you
I
doing?
wasn't looking at you. But and we are hunched over more than we've ever been in history because of our phones and our
Right.
tablets and everything being so small
And
here.
our clippers.
And this motion, right? And it's repetitive motion. It's on one side. So when something is out of balance, I like to do something where you're using both sides at the same time so you can feel, okay, this is not feeling the same as the other. If you do it on one side, you don't really get that feeling. So basically, you just lift your arms up over your head and kind of try to get your thumbs as close as you can.
Hmm.
And then bring your elbows down to shoulder height out. And I call this cactus pose. A lot of people call it cactus.
Cactus pose.
Yeah. And then you just go back up. Inhale on your up, exhale on your down.
I'm
And that-
thinking field goal post. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking.
Yeah. And if you want to,
Touchdown.
and here's another thing, maybe you want to do it against a wall and have the backs of your hand on the wall. Another bathroom yoga thing,
Is that more like conducive for the body because it's a more of a straight line thing? Because like if you hunch all the time, your straight ain't gonna be like your straight is. You know,
Right.
do you feel like it's more beneficial to be against something flatter, a flat surface?
I think you could, that you're there. If
Mhm.
there's a wall, that you're in the right position. You could be forward, So it's a good gauge of where you are for sure.
Awesome.
But anything that's a chest opener, that's another thing. If you're a barber, chest openers.
I wonder if that's something that could be done out there, like for barbers. I don't think no one has done it yet to create something, yoga for barbers.
I'll do it.
You
Give
know
me
what I
a
mean?
day, I'll have a whole curriculum.
Hey,
I,
don't-
will,
Yeah.
I will be her assistant.
I mean, no, seriously. I think you guys something
Yeah.
that could be
Let's
just
worked
have
on.
like
Love
job
to.
specific yoga
I mean,
classes.
because one
Yeah.
of the things that we our elbows, our knees, our hips, you know what I mean, our ankles, stuff like that needs to be intact. You know, our backs, you know what I mean. So we need. I don't think there's something out there for that.
you
And
could market that to businesses too. Like if you have a factory where people are doing the same kind of labor
right.
and just have like a yoga offer, a yoga, and that insurance could cover it. I don't know.
Yeah,
That would be incredible.
I've taught a couple office yoga seminars where it's
cool.
like, okay, this is something you can do in your office chair. This is something you can do if you have your own office and you want to stand on your head or whatever. But yeah, job specific yoga is something that I think I'd love to make a career out
And
of
I
that.
think
mean,
even
that's-
if it's down to like say like because typically before I should think yogas, I've done it probably like once in my life and I never went back because it was so long. I think it was like 45 minutes to an hour. I'm like, it was cool. I felt, but I'm like, I can't sit there for 40 minutes. It
You
come
ain't
down to
keeping
like,
Craig's heel that long.
yeah, I mean, I have ADHD and some things. I just can't. I need something that's going to be like 15, 20 minutes about 4 times a day. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
That's
if-
totally doable. You just
Mhm.
pick a couple poses and go, or maybe one pose. Today, I'm going to do downward dog 5 times.
Mm.
Hold it for 30 seconds. That's your goal. That's it.
Mhm.
Next day, you can pick another pose.
So where does that thing come about where they make it 50 minutes to an hour? What is that about?
That's a really good question. Most yoga classes last, I mean, typically, at a studio last about an hour, some a little bit longer.
Because if you tell me you could do one pose here and there, I mean, why make it? Because in the time of our world, how we living right now, we have to be efficient. We have to be
Mhm.
economical. We have to put it in our day where it will make sense for us because we have to go to work. We have to be lawyers. We have to be doctors. We have to be teachers. We have to be barbers. So if it can fit into a time where we can like, you know what, we can do it 15 minutes here, or even like go to somewhere where it can be beneficial, where it will have some longevity.
That'd be cool to hit like 15 minutes at lunch. Like that would help you get through your day a little better because
Yeah.
like, stress relieving. If like you come at lunch and you could still have time to eat, but you stretch first and that like just getting that stress relief off you midday and going through the rest of your day could be super beneficial for people.
Yeah, I teach a noon class, and it's 45 minutes long, which is on the short end of what classes normally are, unless you're doing like a kids yoga class or something. So I think that yoga doesn't need to be done in a studio, and I think that if you want to go to a studio and take that time and
Mhm.
work on that, that's beautiful and that's great. If you don't have the time or the will to do it, there's other ways of still putting yoga into your life that you don't have to, go to the studio, get in yoga class, clothes, then drive home.
Right.
That's an hour and a half out of your day, and I can understand how people can't do that.
Is it less benefit if you don't do it for 45 minutes to an hour?
No.
Oh, no.
So
But I mean, if people, obviously they love yoga. So, and she does yoga like all day. So, I mean, that's people's meditation time. Like I try to spend at least 45 minutes, hour in the gym.
no, I mean the pandemic has taught us several different things. Even like I had a conversation with my pastor, and we go to church, and church used to be 2 hours. He's like, you know what the pandemic has taught me, we can get that down in an hour, get what we want to do, and do it and get out.
Praise Jesus, go to yoga.
Because the
I
objective,
like it.
the objective is to get the word, and some stuff doesn't need to be in there. So we cut it down from 2 hours to an hour. I'm like, I'm with that, and I always thought that, you know what I mean. And that's one thing the pandemic has taught us: time.
The
Time
better manage
management.
your time. Yeah.
Better manage your time.
So like a rapid yoga class.
But it has to be beneficial. You know
Well,
what I
as
mean?
I said, if you do one yoga pose for a
Mhm.
minute, it is going to be beneficial.
Right.
Unless you do something crazy and hurt yourself, it's going to work,
Right.
and that's what's amazing about it is it's proven to be effective for everybody
Mhm.
all over the world, no matter your body type, how old you are. Iyengar got the queen to stand on her head, didn't he?
Oh,
At
I
like
didn't know about
86
that.
or
Oh, how
something?
The
cool.
queen?
Oh, how
She's
The
cool.
like
Queen of
5.
England.
She's like
Nah.
5. She's like
Yeah.
5 foot.
I think.
She's like
I'm
5.
so sorry if
Now I'm
I'm
gonna
making
look
up
that
stories,
up.
but I'm
That's so
pretty.
cool.
It might have been one of those tales,
I
but
bet she had her camera off when she was streaming.
Yeah, they probably had some invisible strings on
Yeah.
the side holding her up. You know what I mean?
I
Some
think
props.
it was a good 20 years
Yeah.
ago. But
So she's
Oh,
she's 100 now.
who knows? I don't know.
I'm gonna look this up. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Well, and I think on a practical level, having from a studio aspect, a 15-minute class, and economically and
Right.
scheduling it would be hard. But I think the huge takeaway is that, go to a few classes online or in person, kind of build up some knowledge and comfort with the postures, and then you can do it in the bathroom at work. You can do it in the corner. You can do
Right.
it in your office at your desk, and if it's 1 minute, if it's 10 minutes, you don't even need to have yoga clothes on. I mean, it's some things you can't really do in like jeans or a suit or things like that, but you can find something.
So you got to wear some spandex.
They got the stretchy jeans.
Yeah.
I'm buying the stretchy jeans. I'll make it happen.
Again, thanks to some adjustments from the past year, athleisure is a much more accepted work attire. So yeah, but it's easy. Well, I'm not in the right clothes, or I need to do a full hour. It's not even worth it. It's so easy to have those excuses, but once you kind of get a little bit familiar and sort of build up that knowledge, well, then you realize you could do it anywhere, anytime.
And downtown yoga, Kim, she's always like, Craig, why don't you come take a class? I'm coming. Craig, when you come and take a class, she's been asking for the past like several years. I'm like, I'm coming, Kim, I'm coming.
So it wouldn't
Kim,
be practical.
I'm coming one day. I'm coming, I promise.
It wouldn't be practical for y'all to have 15-minute yoga classes. Like that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and I'm planning on getting my own channel going so that I can offer people classes when I think would be best for them.
Mhm.
And I think, morning, noon, and night is kind of my idea for this, but just going and Googling something for 15 minutes. I mean, that's enough to get-
specify what you want. Specify the pain that you're having.
Yeah.
Don't make it into something that's going to be too difficult where you have to try to do like 10,000 different poses
Yeah.
because it's simplified.
And think about how you're feeling that day. That's another part of yoga that we're so out of touch with our bodies, right?
Mhm.
We're just like, oh, it hurts, whatever. I got to get this thing done, And so just having that time, taking that time and respecting yourself and having that time to say, you know what? My neck is hurting. Do I have to do this thing right this second? Or can I take 30 seconds to drop my right ear to my right shoulder and let it stretch out?
So what about now we've talked about yoga. What about hot yoga? What's the difference? What does it do for you? Does it make you more lucid, more fluid?
I love your face right now. by the way.
What yoga did you say?
She's a lawyer. She's trying to see how she's going to phrase this. I'll phrase for you. How about this?
please.
I am very anti hot yoga. I'll go out there and say it.
What's hot yoga?
Hot yoga is when they heat up the room
Oh, you
and
sweating?
you sweat. So there's lots of traditions of sweating all over the world, and that's fine. Sweat lodges, especially. But you have to be monitored, and you have to have, in those kind of situations, you have someone who's been guiding people through this for a long time. Now you're trying to do
It's dangerous, the sweat
tiring-
lodge.
well, I mean, or the sauna.
yeah,
Imagine doing jumping jacks in the sauna. Would you do that?
Mm-mm.
No, it's insane.
yeah.
So,
Playing basketball in a hot gym.
Ooh.
Too hot.
Yeah.
and I honestly don't know where it comes from. I would assume people are like, well, it's hot in India, so we should do it cranked up the heat in here.
Do you feel the same way, Steph?
I do. I mean, I've done it, and it's intense. And when they put that cold washcloth on your forehead at the end, it's almost worth it.
Before your soul leaves your body, they like stick.
Oh my gosh! But it's just, for me, that's not portable in the sense, like, everything we've talked about is something you can do at home or elsewhere.
Mhm.
You could do it in the park, which we do in Johnson City, and it's so cool, and it's free on Wednesdays.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Wednesdays in the park.
Wednesdays
yoga.
in the park, yoga. Down again. I plugging Kim's awesome studio, Downtown Yoga. She puts it on.
We're gonna have to have a section just for men.
Just-
All right, Kim, you have to have a section
Yeah,
just for men
hey,
behind
I see-
across the
I
bridge.
see
somewhere.
tons
Sweatpants.
of guys there. I see
Uh,
tons of guys.
tons of guys.
And there's
yeah.
I've taught that one a couple times, and there's so many people there that no one's looking at you.
no,
No
mm-mm.
one cares what you're doing. They're trying to not fall over on their own little mat. And
Although my friend Danny hates it when
Ah.
they close with Happy Baby, because she doesn't really like doing Happy Baby in the
Is
middle
that a
of the park.
pose?
Right.
This is where you're laying on your back and you're holding each foot in each hand, and you're basically
He said each
You're-
foot
you're-
in each hand.
a spread
to-
leg.
I'm
You're
trying to
you're-
picture that.
I
booty
gotta
and
get you over
your
here.
lady parts area kind of exposed for the world to see. She's not a fan of of that, which I understand.
Who
But
came up with that one?
Someone who wanted their hips stretched.
yeah,
It's
it
a
feels
great-
amazing.
it's great.
It feels amazing. You
She
just might
wanted
want to not do it in the
someone-
park.
Someone who want her hips stretched.
But see but see, just
There's
because,
ways to get your hips stretched.
but just like you said, she didn't want to do that one though. Like
Well,
she
and you don't have
specifically.
to.
You
No,
don't
but-
have to.
Okay.
And
So you just sit
that's-
there and watch everybody like that.
Yeah.
or do it. I guess do a different pose would be
Time
better.
out. I'm not doing this one. I'll pass.
Well, and then you guys
Stretch
bring up
your
a
hip.
great point, which is, you never are going to be forced in a yoga class to do something you don't want to do. I mean, unless you have some weird sadistic teacher who
And
really
then
doesn't have
leave.
any
Do
business
it.
being doing yoga.
Shia
But no,
LaBeouf.
I mean, what we're taught in yoga is also, a lot of aspects of just kindness and gentleness with other souls. And,
Put your-
my
Put your head over your neck.
if you want to, and if at any time, and
Oh,
the
man.
slogan my guru always says is, if it hurts, don't do it.
Yeah.
That's the realest
What time is
That's
your? What time is
basic
yoga on
life
Wednesdays?
skills.
5:30.
It's at 5.
Hey man,
Yours?
do you have to sound like a waiver? Just can you pull a hamstring or
you
something?
just pop over to
Yeah.
the Founders Park.
You hear
and
that
just-
pop, pop. You gonna pop something? He's talking about, he's talking about popping.
So just do it. We need just go out there and try it out,
Just
and
try
then
it.
you fall in love
So what I'm hearing is we're all gonna go next Wednesday together.
I didn't say that.
Man, I don't know.
I didn't say that yet.
I said I
I
got
got
work. You know what I'm saying?
Baby
I got-
steps.
Oh.
What
Baby
time
steps.
is it at the park?
Baby steps. Baby steps.
Teach
Baby
me how to
steps,
stretch
Tim.
at my
Yeah.
desk. That's
Yeah.
Well, I'll come and give you guys a class whenever you want. I mean, I would love to do that. I
Yeah.
need to get my hair fixed up anyway. I'm kind of embarrassed around you right
Oh
now.
no,
It's been a long time.
we'll take care of baby steps with the yoga.
I
Baby
do the
steps.
fades. You need a fade.
Yes, I
okay,
do.
we
Right
got
So-
here.
fade.
Did I see somebody had some goats out there one time?
Goats.
So goat yoga is a thing.
What? There's
I've
goat
never
yoga?
done it.
What?
Well, there's kitten yoga.
What?
You're tripping.
Which I've never
We
done.
got lizard
either.
yoga, like a Komodo dragon type deal.
Well, I do Pekingese dog yoga at my house.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just pick.
She just, will run and bark at me and try to climb on me. But kind of going back to like the hot yoga, I mean, it's just not something you can really take to others of your life. And, if you love it, more power to you. But it's just, what I think Lauren and I really enjoy doing is kind of giving people the gift of something they can do anywhere.
So you know what I'm thinking about as we're talking. I'll get with you guys and try to come up with like some type of a curriculum for barbers.
Yeah.
I
You know what
love
I mean?
curriculum, by the
A-
way.
a-
That's my
something
favorite thing.
something for barbers. You know what I mean?
And
come
have
up-
like a subscription or something.
yeah, just let me know and then we'll share it and I'll let you know how it works. And
Love
yeah,
it.
something for
And
barbers.
put it together,
Absolutely.
like
Yeah.
movements, like or have like a poll of barbers or like where they feel most pain at. Like where do you feel like back,
Yes.
legs, wrists, places like
Mhm.
that, hand,
Hips,
and then
ankles,
and then you can
knees.
kind of like you take those polls and you can just specify and put it into your curriculum
Absolutely.
and just make it so
And-
much better.
And just for longevity, you know what I mean? Because we're talking about
Yes.
cosmetologists too. They stand up, they crunch over. Nail technicians, they sit down and they do their thing.
As of right now, there's
esthetician-
no retirement for cutting hair.
Right.
There's-
So we have to
Yeah.
protect
Mhm.
ourselves. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm trying to do these podcasts to kind of give barbers a different perspective of how to protect themselves for longevity. How do you get better? How do you get and take this industry, this wonderful industry that we have that we love so much? How can we just continuously enjoy it?
Yeah. Well, and I think from the physical and the mental perspective,
Yes.
I mean, yoga is going to give that longevity. It's going, I mean, if you go on alzheimersprevention.org,
Mm,
I mean, there is tons about the
Big.
benefits of yoga in preventing memory loss and Alzheimer's. I mean,
Mm.
just you could just Google Alzheimer's and yoga, and you're going to find so much information.
And there's
mm.
so many people that have been affected by that right now. I mean, just a lot of people, especially probably listening, that have been affected by
Mhm.
that.
Wow.
And I mean, no matter what we do for work, we've got to keep our brains healthy. We've got to keep our memories healthy. So, for barbers, for all of us, that's essential.
And let me ask you another question. And yoga is almost a form of working out, exercising too, right?
Hmm.
So, like Tom Brady, everybody know, Tom Brady. Tom Brady, he don't lift no weights. He do a lot of stretching and I don't know if he does yoga. He probably does. Knowing Tom, Yeah.
I would be pretty sure
Yeah,
that he does.
because Tom Brady's avocado ice cream. I've been looking for that. I haven't
They got
found it yet.
avocado ice cream.
I've been looking for it. I haven't found it yet. but when I find it, I'll try it.
Call us. We'll have a
Yeah.
avocado ice cream party.
avocado yoga, avocado ice cream yoga.
So,
I'm there.
so the benefits of lifting weights and yoga. How? Because I know a lot of barbers. This is what they do. They lift weights. or the exercise. But could yoga replace that somehow? Not replace it fully, but add. I don't even know what I want to say, but
Put like your daily physical necessities on yoga and still maintain a healthy life without exercise, like weightlifting or cardio specifically.
So you're saying yoga for your exercise
Exactly.
instead.
Yeah.
is that
Absolutely.
even possible?
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I answer a martial artist, yogi, and I don't have to.
And Krog Maga.
Yeah.
Huh?
Krav Maga.
She protects the Israeli empire.
Oh no, I'm not in charge of anything like that.
I don't know what's going on.
It's got a really interesting history for those
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
want to look it up.
That's
It's
that's all we
fascinating.
got.
She knows how to protect herself through this
Mhm.
martial
Yes.
art called.
Krav Maga.
Yeah.
But I don't train in anything else currently other than
Mhm.
yoga because I just don't have the time to do it. I go to the gym when I'm working down at the university, but otherwise I don't. And if you're trying to do something specific, like if you're trying to be a bodybuilder and you do
Mhm.
yoga, yes, you're going to lose all that bulk that you put on. But in terms of just being fit, it's probably the easiest way to do fitness. Like, would you rather breathe and kind of move your arms and legs around, or do you want to be on the treadmill for 45 minutes just sitting there, just standing there
But
doing.
is that equivalent though?
Well, I'm not a big fan of cardio. I mean, I could get into all the
Well, that's what
stuff
we're here
like that.
for. I mean, get into it.
Well, for example, like if you're trying to get cardio, what
Mhm.
is cardio? That you're breathing deeply and that your heart rate is up.
Right.
So technically, you can do weights and be doing cardio,
Right.
right? So the same thing with yoga. One of them is flow. And that means you're moving from one pose to another within one breath. So inhale one pose, exhale,
That's
move to the
dope.
next.
Now think about
Right.
Ryan Flow.
And you will sweat and you will get your heart rate up.
That
I
is
was-
awesome.
Wow.
I was teaching power yoga this morning and I killed myself. I mean, after class, I was like, dang, that was a hard class. And I
What?
pretty much didn't.
So you guys holding back
I mean,
because nobody thinks you can get this much out of yoga.
Oh, no question. It can be power yoga. I mean, you're going to get whatever your target heart rate is. You can get there. You can sweat. You can make it as well, for lack of a word, aerobic, I guess,
Right.
cardio centered as you want to. And then you can, using body weight. I mean, planks. My goodness. I mean, I don't know if there's a better way to strengthen your core muscles than planks. And
I'm
plank
just
is
mind
amazing.
blown because you just
This is
described
plain
like
information.
yeah, but also she just like described what flow was in the hip hop, like you transferring from one thing with one breath. I'm like, man, that's
Yeah.
mind blowing.
That's almost like
But that's yoga right there because yoga means to unite. And your yoga practice can unite to anything. So you just put that in your brain. It just made that connection.
Man, it's getting deep in here.
Right?
and that's what it's
But
about.
And it's so easy to get deep so fast
Right.
because once those little connections start building, you just see more and more things that you can apply yoga to.
That's
Mhm.
awesome.
If anybody
it's
have
vast.
questions out there, again, Market Street Media, send it to us. We have some special guests on the show, Miss Lauren Love and Miss Stephanie Sherwood, and my co-host himself in person. It was what?
It was written.
There we go.
It was written.
Boom. Shakalaka.
Get a shirt. T-shirts on the way.
Yeah, it was written. Yep. But man, this is some. We are earning the crown today.
Oh,
I feel like
Yeah.
a better person
Yeah.
now. I
Yeah.
feel like
I
I've
just- almost
achieved
just from, like-
another level of enlightenment
Because
in my
as
life.
I'm sitting there, as you're talking, Lauren, I'm starting to just kind of like trying to do some breaths on the side,
You
just
know
kind
what
of
I'm
see how
saying?
that feels.
Mhm.
Trying to like,
I
push
You
bet
guys
you
my
want to
torso.
do
most.
some breath work?
I mean, this what
Let's
this
do
what
a little breath work.
let's do it. So what are we doing? What
And if anybody's, you can do it at home too.
I'm
So-
sure
Yeah.
most people are listening, thinking about their pains that they're having or they're breathing right now. I would say.
Okay. Well, let's get rid of a little bit of that pain. So just
She ready. I
Yes,
see
she
this
so,
is
ready.
set
so,
up.
so do you have to sit up when you're doing yoga? Because both you guys just perked up like you
well, I
just-
think the reason is because
poke
we
your
know
chest
why
out
we
and
want to.
push
We
your
know
shoulders
why we
back.
want to.
So yoga is you can just sit on a chair and do yoga.
We're doing it right now.
We're done.
For real?
Yeah.
Do I have to close my eyes?
She just zenned out immediately.
Yeah, Steph is-
She's in her happy
Steph is in
space.
a zone.
Yeah.
Like, let's get to it.
This is what I do in my car before court every morning because I get all into a ball of anxiety.
I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, every morning. And so I sit there, I take a minute. I always try to get there a few minutes early. I park, and then I do yoga breathing.
So when we go on this tour too, we're gonna have these barbers do little things, and we'll get with you guys before. When we go on the Confess Project tour, every city we go to, we'll stop and do a little like 2 or 3 minute like yoga pose. And we'll say, Steph and Lauren, that's where we got it from.
We can send her. We can send them clips too.
We'll come with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey,
bring us along.
If you can, it's across Tennessee. So
We on tour.
Sounds so fun. I wish I could go.
I love touring.
So what are we doing, Lauren?
All right. So yeah, the thing about sitting upright is that you're just trying to get your lungs in their most receptive position for breathing in oxygen. So just close your eyes, bring your shoulders over your hips. I know it's hard. And if you really can't close your eyes, just look down.
Mm.
And just find a little spot to look at if you can't close your eyes.
I'm already more relaxed.
And
I'm about to-
notice your breathing. Just notice how it feels. Are you breathing in through your nose or your mouth?
Nose.
I don't even know what I'm breathing in. Breathing in, I'm just trying to control it. I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, don't try to control it now. We'll get to the control.
Okay.
But this is just observation, which is so hard for people. Just notice what your body is doing.
Mm.
And where in your body is your breath starting? So is it starting up in your throat, in your chest, down in your belly?
Yeah, that's where mine's
From the
coming
belly.
From. Yeah, that's what I was
Good. That's
thinking.
good. That's where we want it to be. So if we get panicked or stressed, we start to kind of breathe into our chest and our throat more. So if you're hunched over, your lungs are collapsed, your belly's collapsed, and you can't take those big full breaths. So that's the only reason really to stand up.
So
sit
as
up
I'm
this way.
thinking, as we're doing this right now, I think it's just something simple that every barber in the industry, every cosmetologist can do. When they go to work, right before they turn their tools on, take a deep breath, put their shoulders back, and just breathe.
Lauren, podcast yoga. You got me sold already. I'm literally like just listening to you with my eyes closed. Like I
Yeah.
can feel it. You could be imagine driving in the car. Of course, you can't close your eyes. Don't close your eyes and do yoga. But I mean, like I could just see, just listening to you driving and then hearing you say to do these things. Like
Prepare
re-
yourself.
relaxes you.
Prepare yourself for the day.
Yeah.
So sit back and relax, get a deep breath, and do the field goal pose.
Mm-hmm.
Because those things you don't need much space to do.
No, not at all. I mean, a lot of this stuff we do in our cars.
Right.
Us yoga people, we're always doing weird things in our cars,
Yeah.
right?
I'm looking for y'all now.
So-
Well, and the other thing is, I mean, it's just this. Just tilt your head. Stand up, sit up straight,
Ooh.
and just tilt your head.
For about how many seconds?
I don't know. Just breathe for a little while.
You worry about the time, Craig.
worry
I mean, no, because I know like most barbers, they walk in and they have the client sitting there waiting for them, and they probably coming like right before their client.
Well, they
You
said
can
you got to
do your car.
prioritize.
Yeah. Right.
You got to prioritize.
So give
Just
yourself
get
about
there.
15 minutes,
Yeah.
20 minutes, and what about something for your joints, your knees, your ankles, your hips? What's that? You said there's in the park spreading doing what?
The happy baby.
Happy-
That's good for hips. Well, and
Like you out there spreading.
strengthening your knees. I mean, lunges, crescent pose, warrior poses, where
Uh-huh.
you're basically it's very similar to like the lunges you had to do in gym class as a kid.
Mhm.
So you're going to add so much strength to your knees. People with knee pain.
Most people can't even
This
do
is-
a lunge.
Yeah. Well, you could support yourself. You could drop your other knee on the floor.
Uh-huh.
So you've got one foot on the floor, one knee on the floor, and start that way, and then straighten the leg that's not bent.
We have to do some diagrams. So when you
Yeah,
guys
it's hard.
putting that,
It's hard to explain. But
so when you guys putting that stuff together for us, I
Yeah.
mean, seriously, we got to
Yeah.
get together and put something together. Just kind of some type of diagram. Because we have an email, we have an Instagram page now, so we put it on an Instagram page, and we're on YouTube. Follow us and like us on YouTube. Go check out our Instagram page. Is Barber College Success. Yeah, you guys gonna like it. So I mean, it's important because we'll put your information on there where to get a hold of you and yeah, certain different things. Man, this is amazing. This was an amazing topic.
You guys haven't done the breathing yet, though.
Oh, I thought we did it. What we
I
doing?
can't listen. I can't.
I thought we did the breathing.
I can't let this podcast end though
No.
without finding out what goat yoga is. What is goat yoga? I'm sorry. I hate to go back
you've
to
done
it.
go yoga.
I have
Lauren?
not done goat yoga.
I haven't
You
either.
gotta
I did
let a
dog
goat
yoga.
walk on your back.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't really understand.
It's different levels of yoga
Yeah.
out here, man.
I can't
You make
say that
some
I
goat water.
understand it, but people seem to enjoy having animals around while they're practicing yoga,
Right.
and maybe animals that they don't have at home.
I don't even like
Um,
cats. I don't have cat.
What a
yoga.
cat? Why you got beef with cat? You
I'm
you
just
name
joking.
dropping
I'm
cats
just
out
joking.
here?
I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I love cats. I love animals. I was thinking about cat yoga. I was like, man, I don't think a cat will stay still.
If we want to add another type of yoga, just to kind of get people excited, interested, that isn't in the hot goat cat category,
The grandmaster.
but restorative yoga, we haven't really talked
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
And that's what I love, and I think Lauren loves it. Like
What
me.
is that?
So restorative yoga is the opposite of power yoga.
Yeah.
So it's basically slowing everything
Mm.
down and holding your poses for a longer period, but they are passive poses. So instead of like the flow Lauren's talked about in the movement and the getting your heart rate up, you're using props like the bolsters, which are sort of those like triangular pillows and
Mhm.
blocks and things to sort of settle into a posture for anywhere 3-5 minutes and focus on breathing and just really just your body's just like goo.
Is that a better beginner yoga than the other yoga?
I think that goes hand in hand with the flow yoga. I don't think one is necessarily better for beginner or not because they both come with their own challenges.
Right.
But it's such a great contrast. And if
Mm.
you're somebody who's just done a very cardio heavy workout, it can feel amazing to
Right.
do a restorative yoga and just slow down, and you're still getting incredible benefits. I mean, your lymphatic system, your organs, your massaging tissues by going into twists and things like that. So it's just different, but I happen to love it.
And what's so important that you said that kind of struck me earlier? It's good for your mentals. It's good for your meditation. It's good for your mentals. Just keeps you sharp. It keeps you ready, energized to just take on whatever mental challenge you have. If you have something stressful going on in your life, yoga can be an additive to that.
Well, Lauren said yoga. The word yoga means to unite, and I love the way it was illustrated. What you guys were talking about, but the way I think of it is when I get on the mat and I start to practice yoga, I feel like my brain comes back into my body because don't you feel like
Yes.
day-to-day life we're so like your head is all over the place and your body's kind of doing the things, and I feel really
I definitely
disconnected.
feel that.
Do you
Yeah,
feel that
I
way?
feel that. Cutting hair
Yeah.
all day.
Right.
Yeah. And yoga kind of brings the mind and the
It
spirit.
balances you.
Yeah.
The yin and yang, right?
So Lauren, let's get back. What is you said we didn't do the breathing. So
Right.
let's do the breathing.
Okay. So that was just being aware of your breath, right? So that's just awareness. And we're going to do pranayama, which is control of breath.
Mhm.
And so this is a really typical one. I use it for people who have panic attacks. I work
Mm.
with people who have issues with anxiety. And so it's called the square breath. And I'm going to show you guys, and you guys can do this physically. It kind of helps you if you're having one of those things where you just really need to focus in on because everything is kind of falling apart. So you start at the lower corner and you breathe in, and then you hold. That's going across the top. Then you breathe out, and then you hold at the bottom. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. Now just go back to your regular rhythm of breathing and then notice how your body feels.
I feel better.
And do you have to close your eyes every time you're doing this, or just does that help? It just add to it when you're just.
So when you close your eyes, you are removing a lot of stimulus. So that's a big part of it.
Mm.
The other thing is that when you close your eyes, it gets dark,
Right.
and that activates your pineal gland, which is
Mm.
right in the center of your brain, and it's also called the third eye.
Right.
And so this is like when you're out in the world, you're looking with your two eyes. When you close your eyes, your third eye opens and you can see inside of your body. And so that way, that's that mind body connection is opening that they talk about, finding enlightenment, opening that third eye. It's just activating a gland that's in your brain.
And I can see where your mental health is you're getting energized, you're rejuvenating it.
You're just focused on, I mean, just
Yeah.
something as simple as breathing. You're letting everything else go.
It's
you're-
hard to
just-
think of stressful things when you're focused on your breathing.
Yeah.
It
Right.
really, really is. Or
Wow.
just an asana pose. If you're
Mhm.
really truly thinking, okay, is my knee over my toe or my arms as straight as they can be? There's no room for BS in your brain. There just
That's
really
a good
isn't.
point. Yeah.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
That's impressive.
It kind of pushes everything out. Like, no, you got to be focused on what you're doing. And when you really get into it, past the poses, it's bringing the pranayama, the control of breath, into the movement. So you haven't really gotten good at a pose unless you can just breathe super deep in it.
Wow.
And that's when you get into those, well, that guy is standing still, but he's shaking and he's sweating. It's because he's using his breath.
He's
and,
super saiyan.
yeah.
He's hit that next level.
And that's what I should think about when that hot yoga was to make you sweat. So you can sweat just without the hot yoga.
Oh,
Putting that
sure,
focus into
yeah.
what you're doing.
And I did want to circle back to the hot yoga thing, because I do sound like I'm just naysaying. But my concern about it is I don't feel like it's safe, because it gives people a false idea of how flexible they truly are, because when
Ooh.
you're in this state of extreme heat, your muscles are going to stretch way
Right.
more than they normally would. And so that creates kind of a two different environment yoga practice, which I find to be
yeah.
kind of bizarre.
That's that you said it. You said it well. Yeah.
So the opposite of that, what if the room is too cold now?
I've actually been really interested in this because I love exercising out in the cold. I was originally from Ohio, so it
Mm.
was like
The
4 feet of
brisk.
snow. Yeah, I was like, it's gonna be cold. So um, I've really actually like the idea of bundling up and going maybe on the top of a mountain where it's really cold, and then keep practicing until you get, as you heat up, you kind of remove your layers, and then when it's time to be done, you got to probably put on those things pretty quick so you don't cool down too fast. But
But that's the thing, though.
yeah,
Like, you
you
think
don't-
about like Shaolin monks that are able to like go through any kind of temperature, or they use their breathing that they can't feel pain or think of things like that. So, or like not feeling how cold is outside by how they control their breathing. Like, that's
Yeah.
what I think about personally. Sorry.
Wow.
no, absolutely.
yeah.
I don't see any benefit to the hot yoga. I think it's kind of a trendy thing that people are like, ooh, I'm sweating, so I'm really doing something, or ooh, look, I can get farther in this pose.
Mhm.
Mm.
But it's also dangerous if you overstretch.
Wow.
And
Yep.
you don't really know if you're overstretching, because you're not getting the same signals from your brain, because you're in this altered state of heat, which
So-
is why alcohol is also bad, because it
So-
brings your muscles to an altered
Mm.
state.
So there could be something as stretching too much. Do people
Or just
do
Overstretch.
people get hurt in yoga? What kind of injuries that happens in yoga?
Not only if you're pushing your body to a place that isn't comfortable. I mean, in
Like when
my
it's hot,
experience,
when it's
yeah.
too hot, your
Mhm.
muscles expand and you try to do too much.
Yeah. I think maybe people think of stretching as painful,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
they're like, well, if I'm squeezing this in, I'm going to get a better stretch, and there's this force to it. And a lot of yoga is just relaxing and allowing the muscle to stretch naturally. So if you're doing, like Steph said earlier, if you're doing forward fold, where
Mm.
your butt's kind of on the wall and the rest of you's just hanging over, touching your toes, if you're pulling on the back of your ankles and you're trying to force that
Mm.
stretch, you're forcing a tear that's going to be bigger than a natural
So
stitch.
just naturally let your body hang.
Mhm.
And I think that's
Mhm.
something barbers could particularly just go on the side of the wall, side somewhere in the shop or in a space, cosmetologist, and just naturally just let your body hang.
It
Mhm.
feels so good when you're standing all day. It feels
Yeah.
Right.
amazing.
I think it's important too, because people think like overly exerting yourself doing something like that. Like, for me, when I think about these people doing their poses, that like it seems like the stigma is that there's people are straining really hard to try to get to a pose that they want. Like, I think about in a cartoon where you see a guy like cracking his back and like reaching over, like it's
No.
for me, like that I think that's important, because it's something that should relax you, and you shouldn't be
Mm.
over hurting yourself.
And there's a difference between going that next, little level, but pain is not a part of yoga. Absolutely not.
Wow,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, if it's painful, you've just gone too far.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And you just got to ease off of it. If you can feel when something's tight, right?
Mhm.
The body stops. You go a little bit past that, so it's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel great. But once you've gone to pain, then you got to listen to your
Mhm.
brain or your body saying, and we don't listen to our bodies. We're terrible at
Mhm.
listening to our bodies
Absolutely.
because we got to get this thing done. We got to be here. We got to be there. And our bodies are, whoa, whoa, whoa. You just put me through all this stuff and
Take-
didn't give me any rest.
Pump the brakes, pump the brakes,
Yeah.
pump the brakes. Yep.
And the going back to peer pressure in classes. A lot of times you're in class and you can't help but see the person beside you doing something, a little extra fancy. But
It's a
you got to
competition.
get past the ego.
You put your foot on your back, and everybody try to put their foot
Yeah,
on
right, exactly.
Put your heel on your back, not just your foot, but your heel on the back between your shoulder bones.
I think it's just a competitive nature of most people. Like if you go to the gym and some guy's lifting 315, like you feel like you got to do just as much or more weight than you usually do. So I guess you just got to worry about you.
You got to.
And
Mhm.
that's what yoga is great for, is because it doesn't matter what anybody else is doing.
Mm-mm.
One of my favorite things when I'm teaching is if I see someone just go into child's pose,
Yeah.
it makes me so happy because they're not listening to me. They're listening to their body.
Oh, okay.
They've decided, you know what, this isn't feeling good. I'm going to take a rest.
So
And
you
I
know-
just want to go, yeah.
So you don't want those instructors to be like, yo, you not listening to what I'm doing? Get out of here.
No
Move,
way.
bounce.
No way.
If you don't feel anything other than people being excited for you to be there
Right.
and excited to be in class, go
Yeah.
somewhere else.
I think that's what it is too, man. Because you guys sound and make it seem like it's so receptive
Yeah,
and so
it's a
welcoming.
community.
But-
That's how yoga is
But
supposed to be.
but most
Bring
most people, especially like myself, we probably think this. I'm not going there.
Well, I mean, and hearing her
I'm
say
not
that just
going
relieves a lot of those
Of course,
like
the stigmas.
yeah,
the-
exactly. Because if you're actually there to benefit you and doing it for the right reasons, then nothing else matters. I mean, it's just you're there to enjoy yoga with everybody else there.
I mean, I've tempted to go to downtown yoga several times. I know Kim is gonna. I've told you, come on, you never come through. I'm like, and then I'm like, I'm coming. Kim, I'm coming. I promise. And I've been saying that for the past like 4 years. I'm like, I'll never go. So
Well, I bet she does private classes.
probably do.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll think about it, but I'll probably do it online now since I know you told me this.
She's done a great job. She really early on, she started doing the live stream and did it very well. And
Yep.
yeah, I got all good things to say about her business, and that's
So-
where we became teachers.
So to recap, one thing I heard you say that was very interesting. You could specifically go to a body part
Mhm.
and you could type in 10 minutes, 20 minutes,
Yep.
and something will come up.
So tons. I mean, you'll be overwhelmed by truly, yeah.
And there's so many different styles too. You mentioned the restorative, which is sometimes called yin. What else? Doesn't it have another name? Something?
Probably,
know.
but I
But-
yeah.
Oh, never mind. That's
But I think
yin has a D.
specifically, and if you could help me again, just put like a package together, say this would help barbers.
Yeah.
And I will try to put it out there and give you credit for it, and let you.
So,
Let
but
people-
they need like some polls like to say where
Yeah, I
people
was
are
gonna
hurting.
say there's
Mhm.
the couple questions I would have is, clearly the shoulders and the hunching is going to be an issue and being on your feet. But what other kind of physical things, that we wouldn't normally think of?
Raising your arms, like if you do scissors,
Ah.
lifting your arms above about shoulder
Above your
length,
heart.
and keeping your hands at this
Mm.
level is one big thing that I feel like once you're cutting with scissors, your arms and shoulders get really sore and
Yeah, 'cause you're up like that.
yeah,
Yep.
you just feel like the feelings going out of like he's
Mhm.
falling asleep almost. That's a
Mhm.
big thing for me, I would
Wow.
say. Besides that, and standing, that's
I know
that's,
sometimes a lot of barbers get things in their wrists where they feel from holding their clippers so long,
mhm.
and their wrists you see a lot of barbers just like
Yeah.
holding their wrists
What I
and
would
just shaking
what
it.
I would recommend for that is to go to a massage therapist, and they do incredible work for
See,
things like
That's
that.
another
See,
podcast.
Yeah.
no, the podcast was supposed to be. We had a massage therapist coming on today. She was supposed to come on and team up with us with yoga. And
Okay.
it's good that you said that. So you put some pressure on and let her know, Heather, you're supposed to come out today. You didn't show up.
Well, that could be a whole other episode because
Yeah.
I feel like there's
Yeah.
so much to say about yoga, and I
Right.
know there's so much to say about massage. So it's good. It's good
So-
to spread it out.
So we'll
Yeah.
do. We'll show some love. The next podcast. We'll get on there, but the podcast is starting to get full. We are like have like 5 weeks.
Already.
Yeah,
you
already.
got it,
We
yeah.
have 5 weeks already filled out. So she's probably going week 6. Heather, you're on.
So I was going to ask one question about how much time do you think you guys have in between clients, or on a regular day? You said 8 to 10 hours, which is insane.
Well,
when do you have?
sometimes 12.
When do you kind of have those times, and how long are they?
Well, time is of course money. So
Right.
typically you try to schedule. I
Back
would say
to
about
back.
5. Yeah, maybe if you're lucky, you might get 5 minutes. You
Back
might.
to
They're
back.
probably, and most people show up early to their appointments too. So there's probably not much time.
Yeah.
But every barber that's listening, y'all can't act like there hasn't been a time like I gotta check my text message. I just
Yeah.
want to go outside and breathe some air. So
Yeah.
there's definitely
Got you.
time. You can make time to do
Yeah.
that. But of course, time is of the essence. So you try to pack them in as close as possible.
Yeah, you having milkshakes for lunch.
Milkshakes, if you
And
lucky,
go back and cut.
eating hair for lunch.
Yeah, so- Yeah, they're trying to get back in there real quick.
We could come to the school, learn a
Wow.
night, and do a class.
That's what I'm
Yes, I would
saying. Like
love
that would be
to.
awesome.
Yep.
That'd be
Bet-
beneficial, especially for
Yeah.
newer students to like get on it
Hold
immediately.
your feet to the fire with that.
Yes.
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 Oh yeah.
For real, hold your
Love
feet to the
to.
fire.
And then we can talk to your students and get more information,
Yep.
to help us develop the curriculum.
Yep.
But yeah, there's
So-
nothing like doing it in real life.
So, what do you
Yeah.
guys think about the podcast today?
This has been so much fun.
It is
Thank
super
you.
fun.
What did you guys like about it? Would you?
Well, the conversation seemed to flow really naturally, and
That's how it's
you
supposed to
two
be.
are good. You two are great at keeping it going. You're very witty and quick, and it makes it fun to participate, and I'm sure fun to listen to. Which
Thank you.
I will start listening.
Awesome.
Hey,
Yeah.
so we've been
We
on
need
it for
more.
about an hour and 15 minutes. You
Wow.
realize that?
It's flown.
Yeah.
Flow.
It's flown.
It's flow.
But again, thank you, Lauren, because if you didn't text me back and said, "Hey, what's up?" I'd probably totally forget.
Well, when I have a new demographic I can work with, I
Uh-huh.
get really excited. And I thought, oh my gosh, these people are all hunched over. Of course I can do something about this.
Right.
And same thing when people sitting in the office all day, I'm like, all right, get up, move around.
I see. Like, that's monopolization for yourself because trades it's all together. The whole trade field has been taken for granted
Right.
up until the pandemic. Everybody kind of just took it for granted, and now that this coming out, more people are. It's becoming more professional, and of course, the people need to take care of themselves no matter what you do.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, and it's not just for barbers, cosmetologists, or anyone out there in some particular field or trade or job who's looking for some type of relief or some type of get your mind, your body back to where you need to be. Because yoga is not just for your body; it's for your mind, it's for your heart and your soul.
Absolutely.
And it works. It
And it-
really.
yes.
I believe it. Just
really
listen. I'm
works.
telling you, you could just be on the radio talking to me. Be a better
Right.
day.
So, what are your lasting words you want to say to the casual person out there who listen to our podcast from 45, almost 50 countries around the
Wow.
world? And because you're gonna get some feedback from Johnson City, you're gonna get plenty of people looking at this podcast tonight live on the Market Street meeting. Like, Steph, I didn't know you was on it. You were good. You was great.
Aw, thank you.
Likewise, Lauren, you're gonna get that feedback too. So, what is your lasting words that you want to?
Well, if I could just put one thing out there, one takeaway, it would be that yoga is for everybody, and that it's never too late to start. And start now, start today, start with one pose. And that if you take care of your body with yoga, if you take care of your mind with breathing, meditation, you are going to see health benefits. And that is real science.
And you teach it as well, Steph. So where
Mhm.
where can people reach you and find you? Your Instagram, your phone number, besides being an attorney.
Yeah. Well, my Instagram is TN Law Lady.
Check her out.
And my office is in downtown Johnson City, and you're welcome to call me there for yoga or legal stuff. It's 423-926-0827. So yeah, I'd be happy to teach more. I teach most Friday mornings at Johnson City Ballroom, which is on Mount Castle next to Target in Johnson City. Awesome ballroom. I'll give them a shout out because
Yep.
they actually supported me when I first started teaching yoga and said, "Will you come teach here?" And
Awesome.
they have been amazing to me, and they're great teachers. So I love teaching there.
What else do they do?
They teach salsa, waltz, swing dancing, bachata, merengue, cha-cha. And they're so awesome to beginners. So another thing that's never too late to start, and also scientifically proven to be good for your health, is
Right.
dancing. but yeah, they're really good people that own it and are very welcoming. So check them out
I
too.
think I give so many people plugs on my show. We need to start getting back some reimbursements or something.
We
Sell
know
advertisement.
really good people.
Yeah.
We've got some awesome small business owners in this town.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
subbed for you for that studio. And
Yes,
they were great.
that's
They
right.
were so fun.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
They're fun. They're kooky. I mean, we it's a little bit irreverent. So does we have toddlers throwing blocks at our heads.
Do it.
Oh.
But yeah, that's right. They loved you. Yeah, they still talk about how like the purple chakra, that you made a big impression on them with
Oh.
the purple chakra. Yeah.
So, Lauren, what are your lasting words, and where can people find you, and what do you do, and how?
Where can people find me? I'm kind of off the radar right now, but I'm coming back into the world.
So this is your coming out party.
This is my coming out party right
Okay.
here. I'm here. I'm going.
Raise the roof.
So I teach at ETSU. So if you're a student or a faculty member or staff there, you can find me there. I am, as I said, I'm going to start a program. I just had my room finished so that I can actually have a space to do all my classes. But I'm hoping to have like a morning, noon, and night kind of thing. Wake up, do a little sun salute, noon, kind of refresh yourself, and then a little before bedtime thing.
Right.
So my email, I guess, is loveyogatn@gmail.com. And
Your lasting words. What would
my
you?
lasting words. Try it. Try it, and if you don't like it, keep trying it until you find something you do like, because there's so much out there. There's so many different types of yogas. There's so many different styles. I always tell people that are new at the end of my class, if you did not like my class, it might be me. If you don't like yoga and this is your first class, go do someone else's yoga. Please keep trying.
That's the love for the industry. It's
Yeah.
not trying to be personal and be like,
No.
I'm the only one who can do it. Just go out there and find someone, because
Like
I
the
love this
barber.
thing so much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love this industry so much. Someone else out there you'll be able to connect with.
It might not be me, but there will be somebody who just
Yeah.
want people to enjoy it.
She is an awesome teacher, though. I'm just gonna
Shout out.
Am what do you think?
I think I want to go do some yoga, honestly. Go out there, try it.
Yeah.
Maybe go down city, have them teach you, and bring your cat, dog, goat, whatever. Do the yoga.
Make sure they're potty trained.
Okay, diapers
That's
on
the
your
only
goats.
and your lizard. And one Wednesday, I might check it out. I might come down there. What's it
Oh,
called?
man.
Yoga under the lights or something?
It's
Moonlight
yoga in the park.
Yoga in the
I
park.
think it starts at 5:30 Wednesdays in Founders Park. It's free. And then if you walk into Yeehaw Brewery with your yoga mat after, you get a free half pint of beer.
Wow.
We can,
But they don't know
After the
beer
yoga.
yoga.
After, keyword after.
Yes.
So
Don't-
tip your
man.
bartender.
Don't show up with your mat, but get a beer, then come to yoga
No.
afterwards.
ooh, major. I mean, it made me feel good. Today was a good podcast as usual. My mind was just engulfed with so much great information, just earning the crown, and I feel real good. I think I'm gonna try a class.
Well, we're gonna hold you to that.
I was about to say.
Put his feet
You're
over the fire.
holding
as
us
is-
to a
yeah,
couple.
exactly.
We're gonna
Hey.
and you in
Yo,
mind.
I'm gonna try to
Barber-
come.
Barber College Success, brought to you by Craig Charles with my co-host. Am I the man? And he said it was.
It was written.
There we go.
It was written.
Check us out on Instagram, Facebook. We have a page up now, Barber College Success. Go like it, go follow it, send our message, hit us up. If you have any questions, we have an email, barbercollegesuccess.gmail.com. Hit us up. We'll get back to you as quick as possible. Crown Cuts Academy, we're taking students right now, the first Tuesday of every month in Johnson City and the third week of the month in Bristol. Financial aid, the GI Bill is accepted. Hit us up. We'll make it happen for you. Come get a wonderful education. Change your career. Start a career. Do something. Get up and get out and do. What do you say? Get up, get out and do something. Don't let the days of your life.
You gotta get up, get out, and get something. Don't let the days of your life pass by. Who was that? Was that Outkast?
That's Outkast.
Yeah, I
shout
knew it.
out,
I
shout
knew
out,
it.
shout out. We're gonna give a shout out to a different rapper, different DJ every week.
I've thought about it. I think I saw
Yeah.
it. all the Can't spend your whole life trying to get.
You can't spend your whole life trying to get high.
Yeah.
Do something different.
Yeah.
But again, my co-host and my guests, Stephanie and Lauren, thank you.
Thank
you.
you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Oh, namaste.
Namaste.